little different. So made some changes to my app last night. We now have a drop down. We now have a title, and then we have the session information, blah blah blah. I also added the ability to be able to use voice and video to create the text, and send message is nice and big, so I don't accidentally click on new session when I'm trying to send message. So made it more idiot proof. And then update the directions. I always wonder, should these directions be at the top? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is actually UI. It's very easy to get lost in generative AI applications and think, okay, cool. So I'm going to, there we go, that way you can see me. So I'm going to create this thing. It's going to be like ChatGPT. It's going to be great. People are going to love it. But we really need more than just a Google type interface. For most useful applications, if you just give people a prompt, say, type here, it's not really going to help them. They need some sort of direction. So, for example, in this case, we have some directions. Continue until you convince the AI to surrender. How sweet is that? I'm probably going to have some sort of a sound or something celebration when it dies. Maybe an animation of an AI staggering and falling to the ground. I don't know. But if you can win, it could be good. Like in this one, probably not going to win. It's about replacing health insurance for a large neighborhood. Oh, by using a blockchain. That's a different idea I have that we'll talk about later. This one, using a Finnish education system to Atlanta. This one might be hard to win too, but that's the point. So, but that we're skipping things here. So early on, this is one of my, and I'll make a link to the video. I put it up last night, but I had made this recipe generator, and originally I had this. Well, most of this I had a drop down here. So this is all done in Streamlit, by the way. You type in your region or food, type adjectives, ingredients, menu type, which is, these, and then a recipe name. And then you say generate recipe. But as I was using it, I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, I really should be able to drag in an image. So I added this. And then I got thinking, people won't really know what the difference is between a skilled home chef and a professional chef, or an amateur chef and a skilled chef. I'm probably somewhere in between these two, by the way. So I decided that we need context aware help. So I added this. And I've started doing this a lot more often, by the way. This is, I think, immensely helpful to people. So this will take into account adjectives and optionally region. So it takes into account things above it. This takes into account things above it. So for example, you drop an image, it will recognize a bunch of things. I do find it funny that there was two things that, like rice and something else, that it confuses if they're in a little glass jar. But it uses an LLM to recognize the ingredients in there. That took quite a bit of work to get it to recognize chicken breast from chicken. So, but it does it fairly well now. So, but if you watch that video, you'll see I go into more detail with these. But my point is, then I realized one day when I was working on something where we were turning unstructured data to structured data, and it dawned on me, why am I having them type all this? Why can't you just type what you're looking for and then have it fill it in? It should know roughly what should go in each of these fields. So that's what I did. So what this does is it allows the user, an expert user can just go in and just put in what they want. I really should give a way to be able to save options, by the way. That would be nice because then if a person's using this a lot, they may have the same type of adjectives. Like they might be, gluten free, dairy free, egg free, um, healthy, sweet, for example. Also, I limited the number um, of characters. What's funny is this also has a limit, but when you upload the image, it blows past the limits. It's rather amusing. But it's really there to try and limit the risk of jailbreaks. So that's a big part of the UI is let's try and not have bad things happen. People should not be able to abuse our application. So I like the idea of limits, and then you also you don't just take the prompt and just send it directly to the LLM. That's beyond stupid. You, for example, even in the prompt here, I have a prompt around it to structure it, to tell it what kind of fields I have. So the prompt by itself doesn't go to the LLM. The prompt goes with guidance. And later we'll talk about guardrails and other things you can do to try and protect against bad prompts before it gets to the LLM. There's other steps you could do, but that's a later discussion. I have a whole series of different things I want to talk about in kind of in order ish. Um, so that's something to think about when you're doing your AI, when you're doing your application. How do you want people to interact with the application? Drop downs, I think, are useful because we're used to wizards. It's something that we're comfortable with. So why not just give them that? Because if all you had was this, then you don't really know what kind of what are you looking for about a recipe? Are you going to say you want it for dinner? Are you going to say you want it for, a brunch, or you want it to be in a certain region in Italy? You can also put, by the way, put multiple options here. I have I did one with a Greek Indian dish, for example, because playing around. So you can, but people won't necessarily think about that if you give them more guidance, and that's what these helps are for. Give the people more guidance because then when you sit there and say, I'd like to be able to make something like this, and it will give them, it'll fire off their imagination. Um, so, I don't know, durian. This takes a little while. But we'll probably come back and I'll show you what this help looked like for the region, by the way. But it's that's key is helping people to understand how to use it. But if they're an expert, they might be able to type in here very quickly. They might come in and much like we do Google searches now, they might just quickly put in their recipe and with all the details and say generate and it'll be all good. Now, one of the things that this does, by the way, is when you say generate recipe, it has a human in the loop part. So on the next page, it actually shows you the recipe more. Um, and then you could approve or go back. You go back, you go back here, you fix it. I find that helpful because sometimes it might add something that I really don't want. And so I'll add something to here, and then it will. So I'm kind of curious how the durian, healthy, and sweet will come up. Um, it's fun to play around with these. Oh, there we go. So let's see here. Tackling the fascinating challenge. Um, so it recognizes what I want. And so Southeast Asia has the deepest connection with durian. I think I knew that. And then you'll find incredible examples of these cakes. Really? They make cakes with durian? That's weirdly weird. I never thought they would. These are often used to coconut flour and milk. Um, who knew? I might make a screenshot of this because my daughter might find this interesting. So, and then we go back to Indonesia, Malaysia. So we're still in the Malaysia area, Philippines, South Vietnam, North. So, and then we have modern adaptations. And I like the fact that it does this, like it gives a strength of how well it matches. And then it would like to know some more information. And that's helpful because then, so what this does is it tells you if you want to make this kind of a dish, you may want to, for example, go with Lana cuisine area, for example, could be a region. The Lana region. So you could put as your region Lana if you think that that sounds interesting. Okay. So this is to give people help. And then they get a better experience. Okay. So this is going to be a short video because there isn't a whole lot to talk about UI. I really want to focus more on that. I do like drop downs. A lot of this is things that we learned from web development, honestly. Copy session ID. I expect that later, if this was a multi-user thing, I could click on this, send it to them, and then they could open it in the same and see my argument, see the evidence, and all that. So this could be useful if I'm working with a group of people. So you want to try and think as social uses. Okay, that's rather key because, but don't over engineer it initially. For example, I talk about the fact that I might be able to do this, but this is still a one user application. Why? Because I don't know how I would bring this to production. I have an idea, but what problem am I solving? When you're working on something, and that might be a later video, you should think about what real problem am I solving? Don't just write something and say, well, we're going to throw it out there, and the people, as a startup, we don't know what problem we're solving, but it's kind of a cool idea, so why don't we build it? Think about fundamentally, is there something that you're solving that will benefit people? And that's about it. So, like I said, nice short video, but I did want to walk through that because, like here, I struggle with, do I want to have this be at the bottom and the reading at the top? Or do I want to have the, because if I go with new session, for example, then you see what it looks like. Then people might try and type in this area, and you can't. There's nothing to type here. You have to go down to the bottom. I might need to put some sort of border around it or something, or make it arrows, I don't know, to make it more obvious, but we'll see. So that's about it for this video. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.